to another episode of Entrepreneurs in Fuego. We're documenting the journey of amazing entrepreneurs, and we do have an amazing entrepreneur, Michael Donato from the Helix House.
Thank you, nice to be here.
Advertising, branding in the digital age.
Yes.
How competitive is that, man?
Incredibly competitive, yeah. There's quite a few of us out there, yeah.
There's quite a few of you out there, but I hate sounding pandering, and I was telling you that that I talk to a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs, particularly in your field. And from once in a while, you get a company or an executive or somebody that kind of breaks the mold a little bit, and you're different.
Yeah.
What makes you different?
Well, the way I like to think about it is a lot of companies are, they work on a scale where they're just attempting to bring on as many clients as they possibly can, as quickly as they possibly can, and really, fill their quotas, I guess, for lack of a better term.
All right.
Our agency works a little bit differently. So we only onboard maybe a half a dozen or a dozen clients a year. We try to create personal solutions for every single client that we bring on. And we work very closely, very hard, tirelessly for each and every client that we bring on to really attempt to create the best possible result for them. When we look at clients and look at their needs and their wants and their goals, it's easy to see that each and every client needs something different. And if you're not willing to provide them, something personalized, you're just not giving them the best service that you can.
What I hear is that the fact that you take so few clients, and I assume these clients are from many industries.
Yes, yes.
It's just varied, so you don't specialize in particular. So what you do, and the fact that you take few clients, is because you want to become an expert in that particular industry and in that particular company.
That's exactly it, yeah. And it really allows you to have the time to be able to do that, because that's really the commodity. Beyond the expertise, it's really the time that these clients are purchasing from us. And if I don't have the time in my day to be able to give them what they need, again, really, I'm not giving them the best service that I possibly can.
It is difficult to envision anything other than devoting 100%, even more of your time in a particular company.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of companies out there, God bless them, that are doing it on a part-time basis. Mm-hmm. And if anybody out there that is using social media, you know how hard it is to be creative, to be consistent, and to be incredibly good and impactful.
Yeah, and that impact is really what you're going for. When you look at consumers today, they're inundated with branding messages and advertisements on a regular basis. So in order to be able to stand out from that crowd, you have to be able to speak to them directly and give them a message that is more personalized and is about you as well too. A lot of clients, when they start with us, are afraid to express their own voice. They want to do the things that they see their competitors doing, or the things that they've seen done within their industry. And one of the things that we preach regularly is be true to yourself, be who you are as a company, so that you can find the clients that align with your goals, and your morals and your values and your integrity, or whatever your personal company culture is. You want that good alignment. The same thing that we do when we're out there looking for clients. We want to find those that that have the same culture that we do, because that just creates a great relationship. And how could I possibly do that unless I'm speaking my own truth and preaching my own thoughts and being true to my voice when I'm out doing my advertising and my marketing and any interactions that I have with potential clients.
Michael, are you finding that the clients that are coming to you, I'm not saying every client, but a lot of the clients that are coming to you have been burned out or have a bad experience with other social media companies that promised the world, only to find that, wait a minute, you didn't deliver, man. I mean, what's going on?
Oh, definitely. That's definitely something that's really common within our industry.
It's happening a lot more.
And the crazy part is they come to you being burnt by somebody saying that they're going to provide them the world, but then they still expect the world. So that's the hardest thing. So one of our biggest jobs is to set correct expectations. What are your goals? What are you looking to do? And what can you expect from the campaigns that we're running? Whether it's a social campaign, a paid campaign, an organic campaign, if we're doing press releases or buying digital ads or doing, you know, music runs, whatever it is, you know, there's certain effects and certain responses you can expect from each of those, and you have to be realistic. You know, just because you decide, hey, today is the day that I want to get into advertising, today's the day I really want to put some money into it, that doesn't mean that you're the only one that had that thought, either today or tomorrow or the day before. There's a lot of people and a lot of competition within that area. So reasonable expectations are something that are incredibly important, you know, and driving a return, you know, something that can only be done when everybody's on the same page.
Who came up with the name?
Helix House? It actually wasn't myself or my partner. So we started 8 years ago as a residential and commercial IT company. So we had a horrific technical name from a long time ago. And it was probably 5 or 6 years ago that we did the rebranding to Helix House. And we actually brought on the same thing that we'd recommend to our clientele. We brought on a traditional marketing agency, worked with them for about 4 or 5 months, local company here, great company, and kind of brainstormed and found the new brand that we were going for, which ended up being Helix House.
Which is interesting because you are a brand and you're an advertising company, but you're bringing in somebody else to help you see your own brand and to define your brand, which I think is not only is very, very courageous, but it's also very humbling, and it kind of conveys your whole philosophy, right?
Yeah, and like I said, it's the exact thing that we recommend to our clientele. We ask them to bring us on to help them do work. You know, if we need internal work, you know, we want to bring somebody else on to help us, because, you know, we don't want to be stuck with our own singular vision. We want to have something broader and something greater. And, you know, the ideas that, you know, that people as a group or a whole can bring to you are far beyond, you know, what you can do on your own.
And that's really admirable, because one of the things that you do is not only are you looking for the advertising, the social media campaign, et cetera, but you look at that company from a holistic perspective and from a systems perspective.
Definitely.
Where does the client come in first? What is your first point of contact, and what is the output? And there's a whole thing that happens in between.
Yeah.
And so you're looking at the entire picture,
yeah.
Not just, all right, I'm going to create a moment and I'm going to, you know, send it out on Facebook.
Well, if you think of yourself, you don't buy in a singular moment anymore. You buy from an entire experience. So if I'm not providing that experience from start to finish, then I'm not, you know, I'm not going to get that end result, whatever that result is, whether it's, you know, recognition, whether it's a purchase, whether it's, you know, whatever it could be. That result comes from an entire experience, and each client starts at a different point during that experience. So if I'm focusing on one single level and maybe step 2 of a 10-step sales process, and a client comes in at step 3 or at step 1, I'm really not going to be able to capture them the same way as if I have that entire funnel from start to finish.
Which is the reason that you take fewer clients,
yes.
But your production and your success is really very, very measured and calculated in that respect.
Yeah, and it has to be. You know, again, if I don't know a client, you know, in and out, if I don't know their products in and out, if I don't know their desires in and out, you know, how can I serve them to the purpose that they brought me on to originally, you know, do? You know, let alone how people service their clients or their internal processes and procedures. As people, they have their own goals as well too. You know, some people want aggressive growth, some people want branding, some people want, you know, just slow growth, and there's a certain area that they want to stop at. Some people have, you know, internal measurements that they need to hit, you know, in order to be able to survive as a business. It's different, business to business to business, and without understanding them, you know, I can't provide that.
Dude, we all want champagne results with beer budgets, right?
Which is getting harder and harder.
Which is getting harder and harder and harder and harder, man. So, were you always in advertising? Did you always have this passion for creativity?
In the technical area, I've been in technical aspects for quite some time. So I started building computers in like the 6th grade. So I've been doing that for quite some time. I used to go to school auctions and buy pallets of you know, maybe 20 non-working systems, and I'd build maybe 10 working systems out of that and sell them in the newspaper. So entrepreneurial spirit for quite some time, and definitely technical. Like I said, the company actually started as a residential and commercial IT company. We fell into, you know, the advertising aspect about 7-8 years ago. Fell in love with it, saw a need within the industry, saw, need not only for the services, but a company that was willing to, back what they said. How many horror stories have you heard of? They promised me the world and they didn't provide. Really, we had seen that over and over and over again. So having the integrity to do, what it takes in order to get the job done, whether it takes 100 hours or 1,000 hours, really being willing, committed to provide the services that you promised, and you assured a client that you take care for them. That's really where we saw the biggest need.
And that is what I saw in Helix House, is the fact that because of your background of systems, you look at the world from a creative point of view, yes, but there is a system.
Oh, definitely.
There is a system
for everything.
That is for everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's math, right? It's numbers. It's
Yeah.
a system. There is a foundation from which you can build all the creativity that you want.
Yeah.
It's got a beginning and it's got an end.
Yes, definitely.
And I think that is really what sets you apart, and that is the competitive advantage. That's what I saw when I looked at your organization.
Internally, that's something that we work on continuously. Actually, right before I came here today, we were redoing some systems for some of our internal processes, because we changed a couple of the ways that we do some things to be fluid within the market. And because of that, immediately we jump right into systems and how we take care of that, and how we want that process to flow. Because that efficiency and that flow and that, that really reflects itself onto your end product as well too. You can feel it when something is just running perfectly. You can feel it not only internally but externally. The people that are interacting with your brand can feel that as well too. So those systems, beyond just the promotion of efficiency, it's really a feeling that you get when you're working with them.
It purrs.
Definitely.
It purrs.
Yeah, when you have your engine all tuned up,
there's
there's nothing better than that
nice
sound.
little sound. How do you overcome the resistance that some clients may have? You have designed a beautiful machine and it's purring in your mind. The client might not see it just yet, but you've been there before, and you know that if you implement this particular system, you're going to have a fine-tuned machine.
Yeah.
And while you can't guarantee results, let us not be disingenuous, but you know that based on your experience, take these steps and there will be the likelihood of
best
result,
opportunity. Yeah.
And the client goes like, nah, I don't really think that's the way that I want to go. Do you get that?
Yeah, and I think it's more than just that conversation or that initial conversation that overcomes that. It's the relationship that you create from day one. I think we're very clear about the fact that, this is what we do. This is what we live, sleep, eat, breathe, sweat. This is our life, and just as we wouldn't ask them to, do their job differently, we ask them to trust us, to put their trust in us, that we have the knowledge and the experience, and we've been through this before, to know what's going to provide the best outcome, or give them the best opportunity, like you said, for, the most positive end outcome. So we really don't give them a chance to say no. I guess is the best way to say that, because that's not, we weed those clients out from day one. The clients we want to work with are the ones that are going to allow us to have the control over their, their campaigns, to be able to provide them the best result. Because when the client's fighting against you, really you're fighting two battles. I'm fighting, the battle to provide the best advertising service that I can, get them the results over there. And then I'm also fighting the battle of, with that client as to, a daily grind in order to be able to do what I need to do. So
social media platforms are changing so rapidly, so fastly. How do you keep up with all those changes and recommend those changes to a client?
Because I just stopped sleeping. So about
absolutely, dude. I mean, here you have Blab and you have Periscope and Snapchat, and the next thing you know, I mean, you've got all these different things that are coming at you. And we, as a society, we're so fickle. We're just jumping from one platform to another. So what once was very popular, and we were on Instagram all the time, now we're maybe on Blab or we're in Snapchat. And that's a new thing.
I think one of the big things you have to remember, it becomes a little less convoluted when you take it from a client-to-client standpoint. So you think of something like Snapchat, right? That has a demographic of 14, 15, 16 to mid-20s would be their biggest age demographic. A lot of college kids on Snapchat. So the first question you would ask yourself bringing on a client, does my product fit this mold and fit this demographic? So normally what you can do right off the bat is have a huge list of elimination. I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this. Here are the the specific social platforms that are going to speak to my demographic, and then I need to start deciding which ones I'm going to push on, which ones are going to be brand pushes for me, which ones have the ability, like with the intro of the Pinterest buy buttons, which ones can I drive direct sales off of. So an understanding of your demographic, an understanding of the social platforms, and your end desire as well too, whether that be branding or direct sales, helps really minimize, you know, that clutter.
You have a lot of amazing creators working for you.
Definitely, yeah.
And you're talking about the trust that the clients have with you, but there's got to be an amazing trust between you and your creators.
Yes, yeah, and that's, you know, I say it every single day. You know, it's the team that creates the results, and the trust that we do have to have for each other is enormous, because, you know, the clients that we deal with are fairly large budget, you know, and a few mistakes, you know, make a big difference to, you know, your client relationship and if they're going to, you know, move forward with you. So we have to be, you know, dotting our I's, crossing our T's, on point every moment of every single day, and that takes a solid team in order to be able to do that. You know, I really view my role today as more of a facilitator of the creativity and the work, you know, that you know, my team has been performing for these, you know, these last 8 years than, you know, an actual creator myself.
Do you come up with some ideas yourself?
Oh, definitely. When I started the agency, myself and the other managing partner,
it was just your
did everything top to bottom, and it wasn't until, you know, 2-3 years ago that we really built such a solid team to where we had the ability to take a step back and say, okay, let's start looking at that broader and that bigger picture. But I'm not a hands-off person. I say that is my biggest weakness. So every large client meeting, I'm there. I'm putting my 2 cents into absolutely everything. When we do focus groups, I actually have to step out. I can't be a part of them because I'm too pushy with the different things that I want. So, you know, we always joke that if we want anything unbiased, I can't be in the room. But, you know, I think that's a great way. That collaboration that we have as a team, that ability for us to sit down, you know, take an hour or 2 hours, you know, when you're onboarding that few clients, you have that time. Take 2-3 hours, just sit down and really talk about something, go over it, you know, figure out what the best solution is going to be. And I can tell you 90% of that time, the time, it's not mine. Mine's not the best, but it grew from something that we built together as a team.
Michael Donato from Sicily.
Yes, yeah.
You got a great
Santa Lucia del Mar, yeah.
There we go. Okay, that was my full impression of
The Godfather.
The Godfather, I guess. I don't know. I mean, that's why I'm not an actor, I suppose. The Helix House, man. It's a pleasure, man.
Thank you very much.
You guys absolutely rock. I mean, I really respect the whole concept that you have, your systems approach, the fact that you're not an advertising branding mill taking everybody in the world, but rather that you focus on a particular industry and a particular company to make sure that their success reflects on what you do.
Thank you.
Great philosophy, man.
Thank you.
Damn, we should have more people like you around. Thanks, man. And with that, we're out.